Nick of Time show. Go check out that show. It's a great show. It's a great show.
New York, New York, big city of dreams. New York, New York, big city of dreams.
What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from the Nick of Time show. Here, giving you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. And guess what, guys? We are back on track. That's right. The Knicks just whooped the Celtics 111-89. Bridges gives you 14 points, 4 rebounds, an assist, and a block. Josh Hart is back with 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. Karl-Anthony Towns is 11 points. Brunson with 31 points on the night. Diawara, our guy, came off the bench this time. 10 points, perfect 4 of 4 from the field is Diawara. And guess what? It is GTA time. That's right. Alvarado, with his first game as a Knick, came in guns a-blazing with 12 points and 2 steals with 2 assists. The Knicks defense is back in effect. The Celtics, we held them to under 100 points. They only shot 17% 3, and after losing badly to the Pistons last game, the Knicks bounced back with a great win. Karl-Anthony Towns came back. He didn't have his little shades thing on today. You know what I'm saying? He had his Mara shades on for a little bit, but then took it off. And Josh Hart came back with a vengeance, and we outside back again. We outside back again. And we're gonna come and break down this game for you guys. All right. Before I do, I'm gonna introduce you to the Latin assassin, ESPN contributor, Bleacher Report contributor, the Escobedo. What's good?
It's Latin Assassin Day, Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl. So all of you Latinos out there who enjoy the most popular artists in the world, you're gonna have a fun one today. Go Seahawks for sure. I'm rooting against everything Boston today. So I hope Boston takes all the L's, including the New England Patriots. Great to go to Boston and get a win in their house, an away game. We haven't really been super strong away as we have at Madison Square Garden. I think we're like right under 500, right? 500. I can't remember what PJ Carlissimo said before the game started. I was surprised to hear that stat. But there's lots to break down. Lots good, lots bad. And JLS have been fighting for the last 24 hours. So you know this pod's about to be lit, because it always is after we get into an argument.
But let's talk about it. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that later. But what we're gonna get to? Are we gonna get to this defense? All right. I want to start out there because the Knicks' defensive identity has gotten better over this stretch. When we lost to the Celtics the first time, I feel like we lost largely because we let Jalen Brown really punk us in the post. We let him get deep post position and post us up all game long. We really had no answer for that. He did punk us in the post a little bit in that third quarter, but I feel like outside of the third quarter, it was really tough for him for like the other few quarters. I feel like we did a good job defensively on him for like 3 out of the 4 quarters. And in that third quarter, even though he went off, nobody else got off. I think the Celtics was just kind of out of rhythm and they were missing a couple of open threes. But I feel like in general, even though I feel like this wasn't like the best defensive Knicks game, I just felt like we did enough to disrupt their flow and it kind of carry over it into other quarters. I felt like we started off strong in the first quarter and a little bit of the second quarter. That second quarter, we got a little stagnant. They went to Hack-a-Mitch to get back in the game. But for a lot of the game, I do feel like we showed Jalen Brown a lot of bodies early on. And we closed out on 3-pointers for a good segment of the game, not the whole game. And that could have came back to bite us in the ass. I'm not going to hold you. It could have. But I think we just did a good enough job in spots to keep it from biting us in the ass. And I felt like the defense and the simplicity of the defense and the resurgence of the defense from guys like Jalen Brunson, who's doing good doubling and recovering. Karl-Anthony Towns has done a good job in spots, doubling and recovering. Diawara helping, getting steals. I feel like in general, the defense was just pretty solid for the rest of the night and just good enough to ward off the 3-point attacks.
it's nice that the Knicks have been known for the ice out defense, trying to keep the baseline as a third man, and Boston obviously knew that. So we were able to change our game plan a little bit and still be effective on switches. Some of the reason for that is I think our guys were really fighting through screens. You saw a different level of fight, dare I say it, to get through screens today. Specifically, shout out Landry Shamet and shout out Mikal Bridges, but especially Jose Alvarado, who brings screen navigation level even better, I think, than Deuce McBride. He was absolutely excellent. Being small, being short, and being fast certainly helps getting over that screen and back on your man. But even when they couldn't, for the most part, I thought the communication, even though he's a brand new guy to the team, I thought the communication was pretty crisp, with the exception of like a couple of Brunson and a couple of Josh Hart switches, I think, and closeouts at the 3-point line. But that's, you're living with that because those are the two guys who are vulnerable every single game. So I don't get too mad at that. I expect it. But also I thought Karl-Anthony Towns, the double big lineups, that's when Mikal Bridges Mitchell Robinson was able to stay back and drop and defend the rim, and they had Karl-Anthony Towns stay at the level. Thought he did a pretty good job of keeping his man in front of him. Vucevic cooks.
Man
gives them a weapon and pick and roll that they really been never even were able to use KP at like because he was in and out of the lineup. Vucevic stays healthy when he's facing that blitz and he's making decisions in the short roll. He's both an excellent passer to shooters and also so crafty around the rim, finishing with both hands. I saw Mitchell Robinson get cooked in that coverage. Karl-Anthony Towns, I'm going to live with that too. I expect that from someone as solid as Vucevic offensively, but I thought we also attacked off Vucevic as well. So Jalen Brunson got what he wanted. That kind of helped open things up a little bit more too. Mikal Bridges, not the best offensive game, but I thought his off-ball movement, committing to the wheel, running his routes, really kept the lanes open for Jalen Brunson, both as a passer and as a scorer in the mid-range.
Yeah, there's people who are afraid of Vucevic signing, and he does make them better offensively for sure. But defensively, like when you talk about a guy you can target, like people can target Cat, like you can definitely target Vucevic, and I think I kind of feel like it might be a net neutral at best with Vucevic being with the Celtics now. Clearly, this is game one, so maybe he'll get more acclimated the more the season goes on. It's hard to judge him off this first game, but it's like when you have a team like ours who can have multiple 3-point shooters on the floor at the same time, it's going to be hard. Just like it's hard for us to have Cat be involved defensively, it's going to be really hard for Vucevic to be hard defensively because like there was a play where he just dumped it off to Cat and a simple pass to Shamet for open three, which is, of course, went to the guard Cat, but he's not running back out to guard Shamet. He just like, whatever, just let it happen. And we can just do that to them all day just as well. So I feel like, yes, he's dangerous as a decent move for them, but in the long term, I feel like when healthy, our length and versatility will still beat them out because we have we will have OG, Diawara, Mikal to able to do that, and Josh Hart to help him cover more.
Yeah, I think our defense did a good job. Actually, defense did a great job tonight. What was the last score? 111-89 for a team that's been streaking and hot like Boston. They're fighting with us for that second and third seeds. Very impressive. I think the scheme that Mike Brown has implemented, that it stayed true today. Even when they made runs, it was because certain players were having breakdowns. Again, I point to the Josh Hart bad rotations. There was a few poor closeouts from both Mitchell Robinson and Towns in the corner that led to some threes on the role players. That white guy with the tattoos, I can't remember his name, and Derek White had some open threes from the corner. But overall, the scheme itself, I thought, said, okay, this is what we're going to live with. Jaylen Brown, we're going to give you that little snake dribble to the middle, but we're going to make you shoot it. If you're not going to, we're going to cut your passing lanes off, we're going to stay.
Right.
We're going to stay peeled to our defender and not let other guys involve in the action and get easy shots. We can live with that. We tried to do that with Cade too, but Cade really went to facilitator mode and countered that. So it's tough. Brown has a store mentality. He's not like Cade. So to me, I think 7-game series against this Boston team, even with Jason Tatum returning, I think we got it in a 5 or 6. I'm not scared of this Boston team. It's not a bad matchup for us. It's a good matchup for us because we are essentially built to beat them. And that Vucevic, I think, lends in our favor as well. Yes, he's a strong rebounder, but he's not a strong contested rebounder like Mitchell Robinson is. And tonight, Karl-Anthony Towns was a super strong contested defensive rebounder. Maybe props to Towns. Didn't have a lot of looks drawn up for him in the first half, but stayed aggressive on the boards, was setting some good screens after that first quarter to tell Mike Brown must have said something to him because he was really absent in some of that perimeter action. And Jaylen was trying to get a shot off on his own. Towns started setting more screens after the first quarter and became consistent throughout the whole game, really helping Brunson get into the mid-range. So overall, great team concept, and people seem really bought into the roles and bought into what Mike Brown is preaching on both ends.
Yes, especially I don't know. It's weird because we've seen Towns as a scorer for so long, and now he's getting like games with like 10 points, 11 points, and this has been like a thing for about a week and a half, and it seems like even he not getting the 20 and 30 point games as frequently has kind of accepted his role, which is you wonder how long that could last, but you also like, okay, I mean, it's working. He's working with it, so I guess we just keep rolling with it. On top of that, when Jose Alvarado, this is his first game as a Knick. I just like the energy he had coming into the game. First time he actually got to touch the ball, he does like a pick and pop thing with Karl-Anthony Towns. And even though they're still working on their timing, so it's a little clunky, but Karl-Anthony Towns gets to the line. He also tries to give Karl-Anthony Towns the ball in the post, which ends up getting a 3-second violation. So it's like I feel like he's looking for him in the free spaces, but like the chemistry isn't quite there yet on that side of the ball. But what I do like is how he's getting into the paint. I like his floater is looking good. Was looking good in spots. He hit I feel like he hit a lot of big shots, but then he kind of just. He got a little shot happy at the end, and then like his percentages start to dip once he started to like I feel like hunt the three more than just play naturally like he was before. But overall, it still looked good in important spots of the game. Like I liked how he looked next to Brunson. It didn't look out of place. It didn't look clunky. He competed defensively, and it looked like having another ball handler who can facilitate and shoot is a good look. He looked good with the bench. Overall, even with the low shooting percentages, I feel like he did a good job. First game as a Knick.
100% agree. He's at the best combination of Kolek and Deuce McBride. In fact, I like the fact that he's a pull-up shooter. I didn't realize the type of shooter that he was. I didn't know if he could really pull up off a dribble like that and hit some big shots against a defense that doesn't give up a lot of open threes with Boston. So that's going to be a huge help when we're playing teams like that really stay on their man, to be able to create for yourself outside the three-point line. Really, Brunson's the only one who does that. Cat too when he pulls up from three, but to have that off the bench, him and Deuce, damn. I mean, that's incredible. That's like tactical clones. But also he's a better dribbler than Deuce, and he's a better player. So I saw that one play where he split the two defenders with his little dribble and got through him. I was like, I don't even know if I've seen Kolek do that. Nice to have someone with a handle like that that's coming off the bench, which allows him to play both with Brunson or without Brunson. I think the shots where he's pulling up off a dribble, that works really well when he's playing with the bench unit, because they're going to need his self-shot creation.
Right.
When he's sharing the court with Brunson, can he also be a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter from the corners? That we didn't see a whole lot tonight. We don't have to see that game to game as it evolves, but he's going to have to be really precise with that, because that's what made the Deuce Brunson backcourt so efficient. It's what made the Deuce Clarkson backcourt so inefficient offensively. Obviously, defensively is two cones. It's total ass. But also finishing at the rim. Can he continue to get better? I agree with you. Push shot mid-range, he's got that. But can he finish in traffic?
Yeah.
That's kind of one of my biggest thoughts with Kolek too, is unless Kolek has a really clean line, can use his shoulder to put separation, he struggles to finish around the rim with contact. But defensive late game IQ, Alvarado is a beast. He can play. It seems like he's one of those guys who can come in, play with any assembly of players and lineup variation. And then, of course, the screen navigation. It popped off to me. I was extremely impressed. And Boston has crafty guards. Just about everyone can handle the rock, even Vucevic. So for him to be able to navigate screens, whether it's small, big, small, that's a huge plus for us as we really struggle in that capacity.
Yeah, and I think the timing is great too, because during this 9-game winning streak, we've had the luxury of having like two like guard / wing defenders come off the bench. And we got smacked. We didn't really have that. So to have him come in and actually be able to guard off the bench with Mo Diawara, who actually came off the bench today, works a lot better for us, because we have not had success all season with our bench units when they were undersized. There have been games where it's been Kolek, Brunson, and Clarkson, and those units always get cooked.
Yeah.
So I was glad. I'm like, I could breathe a breath of fresh air knowing that we actually have another defender coming off the bench for games like this. You want to comment on it?
I agree with you, and shout out to Mike Brown for really. I would have Gamer Channel said it on Twitter before even I had thought it, but I agree with him. This game ball goes to Mike Brown. Thought his rotations were really crisp. He made the right substitution patterns. I thought he matched up with Boston's substitution patterns really well, and I liked the minutes. I liked how he said, "All right, Alvarado, run the offense by yourself, but also his moments where you're going to share the ball with Brunson too." It showed you glimmers of what some on-off numbers could look like in both those capacities. So, man, I think Colwitt might be out of the rotation. Once Deuce gets back, I think he's definitely out of the rotation because Alvarado, pitch for Timmy, I agree with you. Alvarado's not the playmaker Colwitt is, and he's not the defender that Deuce is, but he's, I would say, slightly above average at both. So that makes him, I think, a mainstay in the rotation.
Yeah, he's a blend of both. He's not gonna be the efficient 3-point shooter Deuce is. But it seems like he can hit threes in good moments. And he's not gonna be the playmaker that Kolek is, but he can do both. So it's like you said, that was a good analogy. Like it's a kind of a blend between the two. So you might see once the team is fully healthy, I don't think we're gonna see Kolek again. Once the team is fully healthy.
Agreed.
One other person I want to talk about is Josh Hart. I was actually shocked that Josh Hart even played today. Maybe they just sat him early on the Pistons game because they didn't want to just test it because the game was getting out of hand anyway, so they just sat him. But Josh Hart once again was effective, and you know what they do. You know the gameplay. You're gonna put the center on Josh Hart and force you to shoot. And what did they do today? They put the center on Josh Hart and forced him to shoot. And what did Josh Hart do? He said bet. All right. So it's like he didn't really shoot well all night from 3, 2 or 6. But I did feel like the 2 threes he hit were big shots. Momentum shots that kind of gave us breathing room. So I like that, and I like the way he just attacked the closeouts and got to that mid range. I felt like the swing passes today were on point. Like I felt like Jalen Brunson shot a lot. Overall, 20 shots for the whole game isn't terrible. I feel like that's on line with a lot of the superstars. But I also felt like I did feel like he overshot in spots. But the times where there was more and more movement, I felt like Josh Hart did a good job getting to the mid range and getting to those floaters and just picking his spots from there.
Yeah, confession, didn't focus too much on Josh Hart offensively. I did notice a 2 for 6 from 3. Also chipped in 6 boards, 3 assists. The 2 for 6 is still around 30%, 33, 34%. Can live with that. I like more of his 6 threes. The 6 threes keeps their defense honest, and it starts making them have to adjust. If he hits one, the next 3 possessions, you might see them guard you a little bit differently, which then opens up opportunities if you have high IQ to find them, and that's on the players to do so. But Josh Hart, I thought he was maybe the biggest liability on defense. Definitely the starting unit, I think maybe of the main rotation. I saw more missed closeouts from him on the 3-point shooters, even though I thought he did navigate strains better than he usually does, but maybe the closeouts are a symptom of the ankle injury that he's nursing right now too. So overall, and Josh Hart has to have a really bad game for me to put an L on him or for me to really blame him. And today wasn't that day. And he's always giving Boston Celtics trouble. They have a hard time guarding his one man in transition. And he is one of the few Knicks that has the ability to handle strong enough to attack a closeout and get in the mid-range, where he's not just solid from that pull-up fadeaway mid-range shot or the push, the floater. He can also find guys. He's very adept, maybe better at adept than Brunson in that area. Find the cutter or find the second pass that leads to the 3-point shot. So kudos on him for really, at the heart of it, he's the engine of a team.
Yeah, if there's anybody who's like really waiting for All-Star break, I think Josh Hart is like he's begging for the All-Star break because I think you're right. I feel like the ankle still might be an issue. When I thought it might be an issue, still is he didn't have a rebound until the second half. When it was like, oh, Josh Hart doesn't have a rebound for a whole half. Okay, what's going on there? I feel like he's like trying to pick spots and be conservative in spots so he doesn't re-injure or retweak it. And he still ended up with 6 rebounds, which is still pretty damn good considering. So Yeah, kudos to Josh Hart, man. Kudos to Josh Hart. He did a really good job overall. And man, listen, big kudos to Mohamed Diawara, who played. This might be. Is this a season high in minutes? 26.
Felt like it.
Impactful minutes. Extremely impactful minutes. This is the most comfortable I've seen him for a large stretch of game. Like what Diawara, like I always talk about Diawara's potential. Diawara will look really crisp for like a 3 or 5 minute stanza, and then like the next stanza, he looks confused. He looks a little nervous. He looks like he's like, I can't believe I just did that. Can I do it again? And then like he like I feel like he checks in and out of the moment, Diawara. And I feel like he was in the moment the whole game this game. Now, granted, he only shot 4 shots. I wish they passed him the ball. One of the things in that second quarter, I felt like both Cat and Brunson kind of passed him up when he was open. Especially Brunson, he just hit a 3-point shot. I was hoping that Brunson would get it right back to him. Instead, Brunson kind of forced like a shot over like a double team or whatever. But like I feel like Mo did a really good job defensively, even though he got cooked by Jalen Brown a little bit. But for the most part, he did a really good job defensively. His motor has been his motor. He did a really good job of helping and getting a steal. He was a plus 22 on the night. And that says something. And he came off the bench this time instead of starting. Maybe that's a matchup thing that the coach was thinking about, but really, really, really good job from Mo Diawara. When everybody's healthy, when you're talking about who should fight for minutes later on, I think we have to kind of try to find minutes with Mo. He just gives us length that we need from the bench.
Damn, I haven't disagreed with you yet on the same wavelength right now. I agree 100%. I think he needs to be the 0.5 guy. I got Alvarado, Shamet, Deuce, and Mitch as a 4 on the bench. And then Diawara would be the 8 to 10 minutes, probably single digits when everyone's healthy. There's just not a lot of room. And I like him over anyone we pick up or any Carson. I never want to see Carson play again, which is unfortunate because I love his personality and his sense of style, but I hate the way he plays basketball overall this season. He seems to take a step back. So the offense is almost as shitty as the defense. Excuse my language. Mo Diawara, like that he was impactful at the most the first and fourth quarter. Usually his impact comes in like the third or the second, but he started the game, which then points to your point about him being confident. I love that move that he had in the short roll. He immediately tapped the because he knew that he had the sight and size advantage. He wasn't looking to pass out. That was a clear, decisive move that showed his confidence is rising, but also his reads and awareness are rising too. And then he picked, but my favorite defense of the whole game was early in the fourth when we had basically put the game away. That combination of Mitchell Robinson, Diawara, and Alvarado, gauntlet. Like, he played some excellent defense. It was like, all right, we don't give a Jalen Brown train. You want to keep running that fine, but we're going to cut off and really hedge and recover on everybody else and make sure no one has clean looks. So I love that Diawara was most impactful when we needed it, which is your first substitution minutes, and you hit the rock, you have to make clean decisions. And in the end, when we're really trying to put the game away, we're going to trust you to close. You close and you deliver defensively.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I absolutely love that take. I feel like when I criticized Diawara in the beginning of the season, I felt like I was criticizing him because he wasn't as tall as he was. I felt like he was going up soft and he wasn't able to finish around the rim. Everything was a 3-point shot and defense, and that's it. But you know what? He's a big man. He's a rookie. He's learning. So even though that's what I saw, you realized that. So it's great to see him kind of progress. We've seen a game where he posted up somebody, and now we're seeing games where he's improvising and going to the rim. I love it all.
My dad's finally a believer. I talked to him yesterday, and he was like, Diawara. He really didn't know who he was the first couple of times he saw him play. Didn't know he even got him. And I was like, Dad, just pay attention. There's a couple of things he does at a really high level for a rookie drafted that far in the second round. Second round. You rarely see guys that are his size be able to put the ball on the floor and attack a closeout. He's got that a little bit. And he also has a 3-point shot. We've seen him be a catch and shoot.
Yeah.
And we see him pull up off the dribble for 3-pointers. You don't see someone of his size from France doing that this early in their NBA career. For a contender, listen, man, buy the stock now because it's only going to get higher.
Absolutely. Absolutely loved his minutes off the bench. The only other guy really I want to get into is Mitchell Robinson. It's funny when you play the damn Celtics, you gotta be prepared for Hack-a-Mitch, man. You just have to be prepared for Hack-a-Mitch. This is like clockwork. There's death taxes and Hack-a-Mitch when it comes to the Celtics. You know what I'm saying? We kind of whooping their ass in the second quarter. They got a little bit of a run, and they started to close out the game because of the Hack-a-Mitch, because Mitch is just so damn impactful on getting rebounds, and they have to try to get him out the game. Overall, though, I feel like Mitch was still good. He had 5 points. He had 9 rebounds. It took everything in them to try to get a rebound from Mitch without fouling him. And they weren't successful all the time. Sometimes they had to foul him to prevent him from getting rebounds. Also, the Hack-a-Mitch backfired, because what ended up happening was you had 2 of their centers in like the third or fourth quarter being in foul trouble because of the Hack-a-Mitch early. So even though it was like short-term success, because they had the most points they scored was in that third quarter because of that little Hack-a-Mitch strategy, it really bit them in the ass when it came to the third and fourth. So even though y'all got caught up a little bit, thank you. Thanks for the help. Mitch +5. We'll take that win.
Yeah, the Vucevic adds a different dimension in terms of foul trouble than KP. Well, when KP was healthy, I think he had evolved in his veteran course of his career to become less foul prone. Vucevic is still foul prone. It's one of the most underrated parts of his game. Defensively, is not just a cone, he's also kind of a dumb fouler in a similar way that Karl-Anthony Towns is. Part of that has to do just how big he is on the court too, and he moves very lethargic and slow, just like Towns. So he's someone we can put into the blender and rack up fouls. They have to start changing their game plan and have someone else be the Hack-a-Mitch and try to get Vucevic out of any of that spot where he would be close to him, because he's already foul prone as is. You can't put him into that situation. He's not going to have him in the fourth quarter, or you have to really balance out his minutes and have him sitting for long stretches. Mitchell Robinson, I thought, and Alvarado were the 2 huge swings for this game, intangible-wise. Alvarado changed how teams can hunt Brunson in pick and roll, and Mitchell Robinson was essential to add a level of grittiness and toughness in any other 5-man combination that he was put out. And I thought Mike Brown starting the fourth quarter with Mitchell Robinson over Karl-Anthony Towns was essential to us. The second half, really keeping our defensive identity and saying, you know what, Towns is doing a decent job tonight, but we really want to put our foot on the gas and make sure that they don't get second chance points and they don't get easy shots at the rim. And they did that, and that was a great call by Mike Brown from his point of view on the bench, because Mitchell Robinson, man, unbelievable. He can swing a game with his defense and offensive rebounding. And I think besides that one bad close that I saw from the three-point line, he was excellent defensively, but that stuff doesn't show up in the box score.
Absolutely. I see people talking already. They said they're worried about Mo Diawara's contract. Shout out to Knicks Nation. Because we don't have a is he a restricted free agent? I know he's a free agent next season, but I'm not sure if he's restricted right now. No, he is a restricted free agent. He is a restricted free agent. But I think a lot of people are like, damn, you should have gave him another year. Because teams could people are afraid that teams could Jeremy Lin us. And what I mean by Jeremy Lin us is, just offer him some obscene amount of money. To the point where the Knicks don't want to match, knowing that the Knicks are by the second apron. So will that happen? I don't know. We can conceivably go over second apron to sign him. I know Ian said a couple of games ago that he doesn't foresee teams just throwing a big bag at Diawara at the end of the year, because he's kind of like, a rookie, 51st pick. He feels like he's not going to be on the radar. But that's what he said last week. He starts playing 30 minutes a game. I don't think he will, because I feel OG will be back. So maybe I don't think we'll be, as long as OG is healthy for big amounts of the season. I don't think we'll have to worry about that long term, because I feel like we'll have to worry about that long term if he starts to play 30 minutes a game and he starts hitting 4 for 4, and now you're talking about prime bench starter minutes now. You know what I'm saying? But if he's playing spot minutes, 5-10 minutes a game, I don't think there's going to be enough information for other teams to give him like a large contract. You know what I'm saying?
That might be a reason why you haven't seen him be a consistent part of the rotation. and kind of limiting his starting opportunities so that tape doesn't exist. And when Mike Brown was talked about it back in December, he said that he's going to do everything he can to give him opportunities, like spot minutes. So I think that was kind of a signal that it's not going to be a consistent role, a la Kolek, who they were even trying to gauge his trade value by doing that. I think there's definitely an intentionality here. We know this is front office. They sneaky as hell. They're definitely trying to hide just how good this kid is till you have long-term game tape. But it was a risk to play him in Boston. It absolutely worked out. Whether you now see him playing against the premier defense and offense, screw it, man. He helped us tremendously today in the minutes that he shared with Mitchell Robinson. And even I thought he had a general understanding of where Alvarado was in the passes that he was giving him too. So if we lose him, man, that would be terrible because he's my favorite young kid. He's really the only kid that I 100% believe in on the roster right now.
Absolutely.
And he's someone that I don't know how we keep him, but also keep Deuce and Mitch. There's so many question marks that Leon Rose have to figure out. How do you prioritize him over either Deuce or Mitch? That's a tough one.
I agree. He is one of our young kids, probably the one with one of the most talent on the bench with the fight that we're looking for to compete and the length to also compete with other teams' opposing benches. And without him, who do you have left? Is McCullough going to get the job done off the bench? I don't know.
Oh, this is a horrible comment. If I'm the Nets, horrible isn't, I hate that it could happen. I would throw money at him. That would be sickening.
That would be sick. The Nets get another wing, of course.
And he would instantly be the best young kid. The Nets have too.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Now, I don't know. You have anything else you want to mention about this game?
No, I loved everything about Alvarado. He made me excited. Pause. I like that you can keep him in. He can move the ball a little bit and find open guys without completely hemorrhaging the defense at the point of attack. He wasn't always a point of attack defender, but he was really active. I saw at least 2 opportunities where they were trying to get Brunson in some pick and roll action, and he immediately forced cut the switch off and said, "I got this." Guard Derek White straight up and kept them from scoring. I was like, damn, I don't see no one else doing that for Brunson. So just kind of that willingness to do whatever it takes because he's so happy to be playing at home in front of his family. The intangibles are through the roof. Like, this guy could win you a playoff game just because of the energy that he comes in with. And he's not just like a feel-good story. He's very good in certain elements of a game. Again, I did not know how great of a shooter he was off the dribble. That makes me even more excited for what he could bring offensively. But overall, very great first game, 15 solid points, great activity defensively, being a vocal leader defensively and helping out Brunson on those switches. Fantastic job, man. I'm glad to have him on the team.
Yeah, he's a sight. I'm used to seeing Jalen Brunson get pressed full court. It's nice to have somebody who can actually press somebody else full court. And he doesn't have to be coached to do that. That's just kind of like what he does when he wakes up in the morning. He's like, I get my bacon, egg, and cheese, and I press my full court. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's great to have another one of those mentally. So when you have him, Deuce, and Shamet, and it's like it makes one of these things where it's like, and we can kind of get into our little beef or whatever we were talking about before, but this is the crux of what I'm talking about the Pistons game versus this game. When you're playing teams who are taller than you, 6'8", 6'7", 6'8", and you're facing up with 3-guard lineup, you cannot get away with having 2 of those 3 guards being a negative defensively or a neutral defensively. You have lost before you started playing. Now, if you're going to play 3 guards, you will be able to hold up more if those guards can actually defend, which is why during that winning streak, when we started to see Shamet and Deuce play together off the bench, we started to cook more. We started to win more of those bench minutes. That Pistons game, we're coming in with Kolek and Jordan Clarkson, who's been benched because his defense been bad, and then we're like, all right, guard Hollins, who's 6'7", guard this other vet who has 2-3 years in the game over. Guard Paul Reed, who's another vet who's had 3 seasons of experience. You're asking 3 rookies to come in the game and undersized players to come in the game and punish that game and be surprised when they get their ass whooped. And then it's like, what's the difference between this game and the last game? Well, we actually have defensive talent coming off the bench this time to challenge other players. And to me, that's the big reason that the bench minutes felt different this game than last game.
Well, yeah, this is a continuation of a conversation that we've had. It started on the podcast last night or 2 nights ago, and then continued on Twitter on a post that I made and tagged Jay Ellison. I think we agree, like what you just said, I don't disagree with, but I don't think that's a crutch of the issue. I think the crutch of the issue was an effort thing. Now, if you want to argue semantics and say, what does effort mean in basketball terms, or what does fight mean in basketball terms, I try my best to explain it. And to me, it was when I was watching Pistons compared to this game, even when, say, Mitchell Robinson had that one bad closeout or Karl-Anthony Towns, it wasn't a series of defensive breakdowns thereafter, or 2 or 3 bad closeouts in a row. Guys were communicating and tightening up and making sure whatever shell they were throwing at them stayed maintained, and there weren't variances in that consistently to let a role player go off like Dennis Jenkins did. Dennis Jenkins is also someone that you could call a rookie or a sophomore. He averaged 1 point last year in his rookie season, but he's on a 2-way. And that's who busted our ass. It wasn't that Cade Cunningham was busting Jordan Clarkson's ass. Dennis Jenkins was busting Jordan Clarkson's ass. And everything that I pulled from when I was listening to you, like the weak tags, the inability to get back on your man after being blown by, or someone rotating over when the initial defender is blown by. You didn't see that. The reason I was making all those points is because I saw a clip of all the lowlights of Dennis Jenkins, and I looked on what was happening, and that's what I was giving you in my analysis. And it wasn't just Jordan Clarkson. It was also Kevin McCullough Jr., it was also Mikal Bridges, and it was also Jalen Brunson. It was a combination of everybody that wasn't just getting beat on the initial one, or they were also on the back end, and they weren't giving effort because they were ball watching instead of hedging and watching the guy dancing to the basket and score easily. I saw no physicality. I saw no care in how the rim was defended against the Detroit Pistons, and that's what pissed me off. You know, we were talking about in the chat, to me, I want to see effort. It doesn't have to be perfection, and I'm going to allow for some variance when it's our weaker defenders in their guarding opposed to our best. We didn't have our best in OG and Deuce, but I didn't even see effort from the team collectively, and that leads to a 38-point loss, not an 8-point loss.
I think my counterpoint is when it comes to that game in particular, and you're saying we need effort. Yes, we need effort. I feel like transition defense, the first really bad transition defensive play, Mike Brown called a timeout. I think it was Tyler Kolek who was really getting back on defense on that play. He called timeout. We come back out. But in general, the starters with Diawara, because now you have Diawara who's not in the game. Diawara is now starting. So you're moving the defensive talent that would have been in the back, that would have been coming off the bench now into the starting lineup. And you're left with Jordan Clarkson, McCullough, and Tyler Kolek. And you have these guys trying to play defense, and they're all slow, not as athletic. And McCullough is just scared to shoot altogether. So when you have those 3 guys coming in together, we're down 17 points, and that's where the majority of the mistakes happen, because we remember when you're starting, the starters were down 2 before the bench came in. That's why I'm saying, okay, yes, maybe later on there could have been some things that could be cleaned up, but when you're talking about the pie of the blame, the pie of the blame is on the bench. The pie on the blame is the lack of talent from the bench being matched up with what they have over there with the Pistons. Because yes, Jenkins is new, but Jenkins was busting ass. He's been more efficient from 3 than Clarkson, and has been a dynamite and actually a really effective mid-range shooter. Clarkson has disappeared and hasn't competed on both ends. Even the Spurs game, Clarkson wasn't that we won the cup in. Clarkson wasn't competing on the defense. So when we're talking about, yes, there's things that happened, but when I look at that game, I felt like we lost that game in the second quarter when the bench came.
Yeah, I would agree with you if it was Cade Cunningham that tore us up, but I'm not going to overhype. I like Dennis Jenkins. I actually got to watch him in high school at Hillcrest. Nice guard. But there's a reason he's on a two-way, and why he's on a two-way with a championship team that doesn't really have a backup point guard is that's where he is in his career, the same way as Kevin McCullough Jr. So I think you have to overhype him to kind of explain or make excuses for the team-wide defense. I'm not blaming just the bench. The bench was certainly accountable for the bad defense, but it was the starters as well, because the low light montage I saw, Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges were involved in a lot of both the initial and secondary actions when Jenkins either burnt them or they were the person that was supposed to rotate over. And instead of rotating over before he got to his spot, they rotated there after he got to his spot. So now they're just ball watching him going up in the air. That was my biggest frustration. When you have someone who's cooking, especially someone cooking that you don't have a whole lot of game tape for, like Jenkins, who kind of comes out of nowhere, flash in the pan, you have to anticipate where he's going and get there early. You saw no effort or fight to either get through a screen or get in a position to get back in the paint. It was just tons of ball watching from the starters to the bench. That 2-point lead that Detroit had, that was in the first quarter. After that, for the rest of the game, the starters were a part of that lack of a comeback that initiated. So that the blame goes all around. Not like the starters came back in and all of a sudden it was competitive again. It was garbage from the second quarter on to the fourth. So I put the blame on the entire team. I felt like I defined my word. The main crux of our argument was the terminology fight, which you said was a Chat GPT definition. Definitely disagree because I laid out in best terms. And I'm no expert. I'm actually a novice when it comes to X's and O's, but I did a lot of research in order to have this debate and discussion with you. And I felt like that I explained myself the best that I could to talk about why the Knicks didn't have fight, which was late tags, weak side defenders ball watching, and especially those closeouts and the help coming so late. They're coming after the catch, not before the catch, which if you're a slow shade defender, the best way you can put a body on your man is to anticipate where he's going and at least go up vertical. And the Knicks weren't even doing that against Pistons, but thank God they did tonight against the Celtics.
I'm not saying when you said that you disagree because Cade Cunningham was on the bench when the thing was happening. That's actually what I'm saying. Cade Cunningham was on the bench when everything was happening. It was their bench versus our bench. It was their bench versus our third stringers. It was Ariel Hawkporty, who plays minutes every other game, McCullough, who hardly plays. And this is not to abstain Mikal Bridges or Jalen Brunson from any blame whatsoever. I'm saying the ball started it's the team's loss to bear. But when you're talking about where did everything started from, it's the bench. It's like if you plug in Jose Alvarado for McCullough, or if you plug in Deuce for McCullough in that second quarter, or even Deuce for Josh Hart, that second quarter, not Josh Hart, or even Deuce for Jordan Clarkson, that second quarter looks completely different. Then it's not like a 17-point blowout. Then it's not okay. It just changes everything completely.
Well, I'll say this. I think it's important when you're in a debate, at some point you have to give an inch and say, yeah, I agree with this point. And I haven't done that yet. So I'm gonna say it here. I agree with you that the chasm started when the Knicks bench came in. Throughout the game, the starters, once they replaced them, or it was a mixture of starters and bench, they never recovered and showed what they could do in the first quarter. That effort never retained or returned. So I'll definitely agree with you there, that they really started whooping their ass when our bench play, because our bench players were actually our third stringers. They had some third stringers mixed in too. I mean, Jenkins is a third stringer too, but so was Paul Reed, who played great, even though he didn't show up in the box score. I will say though that the crux of the argument, again, the word fight, I don't think you can lose by 38 and say the Knicks had any sort of fight. If you lose by 8, even if you lose by 15, because you have to give the variance of a 3-point shot, you can lose by 15 and still give a fight if they hit a bunch of threes. But 38 points, I just cannot settle for any argument that says the Knicks gave fight throughout the game or for the majority of the game, because I think the score says it all.
I think that's the crux. I think that's the crux of my argument too. Because I do feel like sometimes you can lose by 38 points and be like, it is not just a fight thing. It could be a matchup thing. It could be a shots thing. It can be a defensive game plan thing. It could be a misrotation thing. Those totally different things from a fight. A fights. When you say there's no fight, to me that signals we gave up. We stopped moving. We didn't continue to run the things that we supposed to because we just threw our hands up. And yes, you can miss a rotation, but it's like when you're missing 3, 4, 5 rotations in a row, to me, that's not fighting. To me, that's when you give up. To me, that's how Fizdale got fired, because people are just looking around. You're like, okay, well, whatever. I'm gonna just get mine. To me, that's not fighting. You can run back on transition, not know your cover, and give an open transition 3, and then people are, oh, you're not fighting. It's like, no, you don't know the coverage. You don't know where the man is. Like, so when you say fight, to me, when you say the team is not fighting, to me, that means for multiple plays in a row, you have given up and you're just letting them do. I feel like, me personally, yes, you can miss a coverage, but I feel like if you're allowing it to happen over and over again in consecutive plays, that's one thing. But if you're like miss a coverage, the next time you try to go on coverage, but you still could cut because they have momentum, that's another thing.
I think that's what happened. From what my vantage point, and Dan, you brought up the fact that I haven't played basketball, which is very true. I'm like self-taught everything. I learned everything through notes and watching and repeat visits to the game tape, and also a lot of research on verbiage and play calling, because I've never actually initiated any of this with my own 2 hands. So I come from a different perspective than you do. You played the YMCA, you played pickup games, you've actually done these reps and done these things. So I grant that we come from different vantage points, but I don't think that your perspective and your experience can inform a game where people did give up. And I don't know how you can't say that there wasn't multiple ball watching, especially once the third quarter really started veering out of sorts. I think the team did give up. And I think now that's an indictment on Mike Brown as well. He bounced back, the great game plan tonight, had his guys locked in. I think Detroit wanted it more. I think they had a circle on their calendar, and the Knicks got hit in the face, and instead of hitting the face back, they cowered. And they gave up by the time the third quarter arrived. And we had to let someone on a 2-way contract go 7 of 11 from the field. That's no resistance. You're letting someone who can't even get a full roster spot, even isn't a starter, if it's playing because Ivy was traded into those minutes, and he absolutely cooks us for 18, 20 points. I can't remember what it was, and shooting over the 30% from 3. It's inexcusable, man. I can't look at a 38-point win to the team that was our biggest competition, and a team that went down the wire every playoff game, and that's the effort you put forth. That's when I say there's no fight there. And what I like, though, we can disagree, right, on that terminology, but I think we'll both agree that this Knicks team showed they do have some fight in them, because tonight they came out and said, this is a game that we had circled on the calendar, and we're going to put belt to ass tonight for the last second half. So they showed me that what I saw in Detroit is not long-standing, and it's not absolute in their identity. The Knicks do have another gear, but how often and what does it take for them to hit that gear? The playoffs are going to say that, because I don't know right now what the eye test for this season under Mike Brown.
Right. And I think that's the biggest thing too, was the absolute. Like when we have our full team, there's going to be more variables. You can't just judge that game and be like, this is our team. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was like the biggest thing about that whole.
Oh, let's talk about that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you're not going to have a game where if McCullough is playing 20 minutes and Huck is playing 20 minutes, I don't think you can be like, yeah, this is our team. McCullough and Huck were playing 20 minutes. Like, I feel like it's like that's not going to happen in the playoffs. The only way that happens in the playoffs is something goes severely wrong, where somebody just injured. If that happens, then yes, we're in trouble. But that's why I'm like, you can't not put so much stock in this game, because we don't have OG. OG has been our second best player, period, in this stretch run. And you take away our second best player, you have Josh Hart, who's hobbled already. Deuce McBride is out as well. Alvarado didn't even get here yet. So now, like, at least now we have another talented defender off the bench. We didn't even have a defender off the bench outside of Shamet. So it's like we'll have so many more weapons and a whole different rotation. So to say like that's an absolute foregone conclusion that the Pistons are going to beat us when we didn't have half our team. Yes, they don't have Duran. I concede that, but like we're missing 4 players.
Yeah, I actually don't disagree with anything that you just said. Like everything you just said, I agree with you. What I'll add is that the guys that we did have, I think we had enough on the court between Mitch, a hobbled Hart, I'll grant you that as well, Bridges, Jalen Brunson, and Shamet to not lose by 38. I did not have this game as a bona fide win. I thought we would probably lose it because of how hungry Detroit was, but I thought it would be a close game. I thought it would be grinded out under 100. I didn't expect to lose by 38 and to be belt to ass for 3 straight quarters as well. One of the reasons that happened is that the worst Jalen Brunson error, flaw, sin, whatever you want to call it, came out severely last game, which is the 4-20 from the field and the 0-for-8 from the three-point line. That's not looking for your teammates, and that goes back to another argument we've had about when I called Jalen Brunson selfish. You and I get caught up on words very often. I said Jalen Brunson was selfish, and that's what caused us a loss early in the season. I would say the same thing about the Detroit game too. Brunson, 20 shots, and you only made 4, 8 threes, and you don't make any. To me, the next highest high was Bridges at 16, and that's all single digits, no one over 7 attempts. That is, to me, bad offensive awareness and bad offensive playmaking. But I still think even with that happening, we shouldn't have lost by 38 points. And that really is a gist of my argument. Is that I didn't expect to win, but from what I've seen based right now, all the evidence, considering Duran out and us having 4 guys out and those 4 guys being essential, I think because of how close last year's series we would lose Detroit in 7 games in single digits. I think we're that close competitively. But what I said in the chat, and I stand by this too, this is the best Detroit we're going to see. There's no other level. Duran's an all-star. He can't get any better than this, in my opinion. Cade is an MVP. He can't get any better than this. And the rest of the bench, Hall and all those guys, they need years to develop their game. But this Knicks team, this season, can be better than what we've ever seen, period. So if we do have another switch, this is why I said this, they can level that up in the playoffs, and we can beat them. But if they stay how they are, even the good and the bad, I think Detroit wins in an eager single digits in a 7-game series.
I feel like a big reason why, when I said this last game, I said this last post game, I feel like we got a lot of open shots and we missed them. And it could just because we got our ass whooped during the first Detroit game. Because even though they did play, I'm not giving the Pistons defense any credit because they played a hell of a defensive game. But even with them playing a hell of a defensive game, in the first 2 quarters, I felt like the first quarter, I felt like we moved the ball and we got great shots that we missed. Shamet, dead-eye three-point shooter, missed a lot of great shots. Brunson in the first quarter, not talking about the third quarter, first quarter. I felt like he did a better job moving the ball and got great shots. When we went behind, I agree. Jalen Brunson stopped doing what was getting us the open shots and went ISO, and then it went off the rails. I think if he would have kept going, even though we were missing those shots, I felt like maybe we could have started hitting those shots, but instead he chose to put it on take it upon himself, and that just exacerbated the situation. Now, in regards to the missing players, our bench players aren't consistent enough to play together. And when you're missing Def, when you're missing Cat, when you're missing OG, we're forced to play a lot of our bench together instead of be like, oh, you know what, Huck Porter, you play with the starters. And you play with them. And, McCullough, you play with the rest of the starters that have some sorts of structure. Because we were down so many players, we were forced to play Jordan Clarkson, Tyler Kolek, and McCullough with Diawara. 4 guys who this is their first year playing real NBA minutes, playing together, and I feel like that was a recipe for disaster. I don't think we're deep enough to survive that, and that's why a lot of reason why I didn't take that loss that crazy, because I feel like in a normal circumstance we're not going to see 4 rookie bench players playing. I call them rookies even though it's their second year, because it's their first year getting real minutes. You're not going to see 4 rookie bench players playing together for 20 minutes at a time. And that's why I take that as like an anomaly.
Let's boil it down to this. Because again, everything you just said on its own, I agree with. Do you think all of the very valid reasons you just brought up, do you think I don't want a word semantics to get it tripped up to where we disagree on this. So fill in whatever you think it should be. Do you think, with all of the valid reasons you just brought up, that it made sense for the Knicks to lose by 38?
It makes sense. I feel like I'm not shocked. To be honest with you, when we first said we lost, when we lost OG, I know Cat losing was a big thing. But when we lost OG and he's been our second best player and gives you 20 points a game and defense, in my mind, I thought, holy crap, there's going to be even more pressure on Jalen Brunson to make up the difference in scoring. Because now in your starting lineup, you have Brunson, who's been consistent, and Bridges, who's been very so-so. So naturally, I feel like Brunson might be more pressed to hunt shots because he knows there's less scoring available between Karl-Anthony Towns and OG Anunoby. So us playing them, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't expect to win. I know I didn't expect to win for sure. I didn't know how much we could lose by, but I wouldn't be shocked. I wasn't shocked, honestly.
I guess that's kind of boiling it all down to brass tacks. That's where we disagree. You were not shocked that we lost by 38. I was not shocked that we lost, but I was shocked that we lost by 38. I think that, to me, that's unacceptable for a championship team to go up against their biggest rival and the team that they beat in the playoffs. It was like almost the closest playoff series in NBA history because of how single-digit separation it was. There's a total of like 3 points that we won this entire series by. That you get beat by a belt to ass 38. No matter who you're missing, you should show more fight than that. And that's where my definition of the word comes out. But here's the thing, though. I also agree with everything that the chat's saying. I told B, I think that the Pistons could have eliminated the first round matchup against Atlanta or Charlotte. I don't think the Pistons are even that great of a championship contender. I think they're a terrible matchup for us. The playoffs are all about matchups. We matched up well against Boston, so we shocked them and we beat them last year. I think the Pistons would do the same thing to us unless we hit that second lever. But what should never happen is losing a 38 to someone that we know we're going to have to beat in order to win a chip.
I think if we stay disciplined on our game plan, I think we can beat them for sure. Like I said, we were down by 2. We were down by 2 in the first quarter with Diawara starting. So, and no Cat. You're down by 2. So you get 2 starters back and you have a healthy Josh Hart. Everything could look a lot different. Like a lot different. Like a whole lot different. It's like, yes, belt to ass first game for sure. Second game, I feel you. And you're right about that. Second game we lost. Cool. But I feel like I just feel like there's more for us. I feel like I need to see more of the whole team to make a more determination. I haven't gotten that yet. We played them during our worst stretch the first time, and the second time we were depleted.
Chat, Kim Dot, Nuriikin, apologies if you didn't like the back and forth. I will say, you tell me what channel is going to give you high intensity, high intellectual debate back and forth like this. You're talking to 2 of the best in the game right now. This is why he's my favorite person in debate, because he's a person I never feel like I win or lose to. It's just always like 2 people just punching each other into their bloody pulp, which I really enjoy. It's like it's like medieval times, man. I have a lot of fun doing it. Apologies if you felt like I took up 2 of the show, but I thought talking about Detroit makes a lot of sense in appreciating Boston. Like, I think you look at the things that we did wrong against Detroit, we cleaned up all of that against Boston. We had someone in the back line that was there. Mitchell Robinson, the double bid lineup, was a huge part of that. All right. Let Cat get cooked at the level. Mitch is going to be back there to make sure the rotations are right, and he's going to defend the rim. That we didn't have that. We didn't have Cat to even talk about. So it's Porty. All of these things I think are great to think about and look about the big picture. Also, these are the 2 best teams in the East. That's to us. I think litigating this is important to try to figure out where are we in that hierarchy, and I think we're right there with anybody.
Yeah, and sorry too. Like I don't like to. Whenever I feel like we're going in circles, I like to change subjects. That's what I usually try to do if I feel like we're going in circles. If you feel like that, my bad. But I think we offer different points, but I could have a blind spot. Sometimes when you're in it, you don't always see the blind spots when you're in it. So
you also have to understand, chat. Jay Ellis, we were doing it for hours on Twitter. And also, this is a continuation of the podcast as well. You know, when him and I disagree, we tend to litigate it for days on end. So this, I think, is a final like chapter of that conversation. But I also think it's a great basketball conversation. Like two people seeing it from very different points of view, I think is great. Like, here's the marketplace of ideas. You choose which one you think you agree more with.
Yeah, and to be honest with you too, like he wanted to have this debate after the Detroit game. I was exhausted after the Detroit game. If you don't know, like I'm a designer. I was mentally exhausted trying to make a deadline. I was stayed up late the night before trying to make something, and then had to finish it the next day. And I literally finished it as the game was starting. So I went from doing an all-nighter night before, finishing it as the game was starting, to watching the game, to jumping on the post game. So when y'all saw me, last night, I was running on fumes. And I had like 3 brain cells left, and I was using it to like debate lead the best I possibly can. So it was like all the real points and thought process that I usually go through, like, wasn't really there. So this is kind of why this is happening right now. So
it's a healthy one. I always welcome it.
Yeah. But yeah, y'all, salute to the chat. Shout out to everybody rocking this 80 in the chat on the YouTube. If you like the show, hit that like and subscribe. We're here at the Game Talking Knicks basketball to our fullest capacity. Shout out to the Predicate, New Rican, Nick Yak, Picks for Timmy. I don't think I've seen Tribe 00 before. I got the Cavs now in the East with Hart and Donovan Mitchell. Because Harden did score at 45. Good start. We'll see how this goes. I'm really curious to see how the hierarchy of Harden goes with Mitchell. Like, whose team is it now? Who gets the final shot? Like, I'm really curious because Mitchell has the propensity to kind of like ball hog at the end of the game. So, like, is that gonna rub Harden the wrong way, or is he gonna? But this is like I feel like this is like the strongest, most talented personality he has to deal with ever, as far as Mitchell. So I don't think he's played with this much offensive talent before, who also matches it with like a strong personality. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to see how he handles that and like what the hierarchy is when it comes to basketball, especially in the highest level during the playoffs.
It's like you and me. I want to shout out some super chats, man. Shout out to the family. Parrish Duggar, dude knows ball, even when he disagrees with me. 7-on-5 win in Boston. Diawara is a rotation guy now. Is that Statue of Liberty icon? That's dope, man. Appreciate the $3 super chat. And great take. Agree. It's very nice to see one of our young guys be a part of a rotation. First Colwitt, now Diawara. Also comes back with another $2. Lee, even I was too tired to fly to Detroit and play. everybody was exhausted with that. I get it. And also pitch for Timmy. I went one-on-one with Lee after a 15-hour shift. That's your fault, brother. All right, you're the one who wanted to come debate me. And this is Rage and Red Bull. Rage, yes. I've never had a Red Bull in my life, and I never will. No Jaeger bombs for me, brother.
Oh man, yeah. If you haven't argued the lead, then I don't know if you've been on the show long enough yet. All right. You must be new.
It's initiation.
Oh man. All right. We got the halfway mark of the season. We got 2 games left. What do we have next? I feel like we have another. Do we have like one other tough game and like one so-so game left?
All I remember is that this is the toughest month for us, period, in terms of schedule. We have the longer the month goes on, the more brutal it gets. We got Indiana next on Tuesday, back-to-back. Wednesday, we're seeing Philly at their house.
So yeah, like big picture though, we talk about how crazy this month is going to be. We beat the Nuggets and we beat the Celtics. Okay. So as of now, the gauntlet month going pretty damn well. I'll just have to say.
I agree. And I think what I've liked the most is what I see a lot of people on Twitter not liking, which is the role of Cat. I prefer this Cat, honestly. This is a Cat that this is a small sample size. If Cat plays like this in the playoffs, we can't win the chip because he's playing good defense, at least more good defense than not. And he's rebounding like it's like unbelievable. It's a tornado on the boards. And he's rebounding in contested situations, which is like Mitchell Robinson-esque. You got 2 guys like that. Damn, man, the double bin lineups are finally looking formidable. They're working to our advantage instead of teams picking it apart. So I like him as a more of a playmaking hub. Maybe run a few more post-ups for him. There were a couple of times he missed seals, but that's going to happen. And also just keep chucking threes. I'm okay with that too. It's when you catch a 3 and you start driving, oh, hell no. Or you're on the elbow and you catch it and you're not set, and then you drive and it's an offensive foul. I don't want any more of that. But we can definitely do without that. The fancy passes too, I'm okay on that. But just find your teammates as a passer. You're taller than everybody. That wingspan's incredible. You can find cutters and keep rebounding the ball. That's championship basketball.
Yeah, I like this version of Cat is interesting because his intangibles. His intangibles are what I like. Like I like his intangibles during this stretch more than any other stretch ever. I just want his offense to get better, like 20%, yo. Just 20%. Like hit your open threes.
Is that what it is? Is it the threes or is it more than that?
It's both. It's like he hasn't been finishing well, and he hasn't been hitting his threes. Today he actually had a nice drop step today, actually. But like his drives have been weird. So it's like he drove today and he got blocked by Vucic and he complained, and you go to the replay and it was like all ball. And you're like, all right, Cat. Or like he'll drive and he'll just run somebody clean over and then complain that he didn't get the foul call. And like, dog, that was an offensive foul. What are we doing? So it's like those, like he still needs offensively, he still needs to get it together a little bit more when his threes and finishing. But defensively, he's been so much better, and his rebounding has been so much better.
Yeah, if he's going to be that more of an intangible based player and not so much where a quarter of the offense has ran through him, OG hasn't continued being that second option. Yeah, that's where he's off. It's got to be Bridges. We didn't really have that. It was more of a concerted team effort tonight, which cool. That's not guaranteeing the playoffs. Actually, it's very unlikely in the playoffs. It's going to be more of the hierarchy, right? The top 4 guys are what determines whether you win the game or not. And in those situations, OG has to be way more aggressive, which he has been. He got injured. So I'm kind of cool with that. My preference, at least when it first happened, I thought Cat was undisputed our second best player. But that's not really the way things are going for us to win. He has to be more of a third, fourth option. And I don't know how he feels about that. We've started the rumblings, but oddly enough, the Knicks are the most efficient on both sides of the ball when that's who he is.
Yeah, and I think that's why Knicks fans are upset because you know what it is, man. You care about money and picks. If you cost too much, if you cost a lot of money, you cost a lot of picks. You got to play up to what the cost is. Like that's the thought. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're getting paid like a second option, or no, you're getting paid like a first option actually, and you're giving us 11, 15 points a game. So Knicks fans are upset that he's not living up to the first option moniker. But like defensively, to win a chip, honestly, we need the defense.
Yep,
we need the defense. So funny enough, the step back on offense and the uptick on defense might be the formula for us.
Okay with it. Screw it.
As long as you win the chip, I don't care how we get it. That's the formula. That's the damn formula.
Agreed. OG is 2, but Cat has to be the hub. I agree 100%. Great take from a great basketball mind, Pittsburgh Timmy.
Yeah. Nah, for sure. Kim Dox's elbow jumper. Is she saying that for Cat elbow jumper?
I'm guessing maybe get him more of those.
Yeah, yo, Cat used to be like a little Dirk, yo. He used to have like a nice little mid-range game. And that was like a little automatic thing too. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like we haven't used that. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's an enigma. It's an enigma with Cat. I'm not sure what's up with him offensively.
Maybe just Minnesota, he was so used to being the 1 or 2. Some nights, especially early on in Ant's career, he was still the 1, even though it was clear that Ant should have been the 1. And then he acquiesced because him and Ant's relationship was so strong. Ant looked for him. They were excellent in the 2-man game and pick and roll. That's not the case here in New York. Him and Brunson have no 2-man game. They're not efficient in the pick and roll. They don't even pass to each other. Cat passes to Brunson more than Brunson passes to Cat. So I think that has a big part of it. He doesn't feel like he is. He might have the vibes in the locker room, but on the court, it's not happening. So until they really acclimate him into it, this is the best role for him. Work those kinks out in the offseason when you have time to really watch film and go through the reps and practice.
Yeah, and it's funny, cool, because I feel like Jalen Brunson hasn't been passing the cat, and then I feel like during the stretch, he's been passing the ball to Cat in like some surprise scenarios that he wouldn't usually pass, and Cat is just not expecting
Yeah.
it. Like for instance, today he was in the paint and he could have shot it, but he did some like wraparound pass to Cat, and Cat was just like, "I'm looking for the rebound. You never pass me the ball over here." The pass like goes off his hands or whatever and turns into a turnover. But it's like he has to condition Cat to look for the ball so he knows to expect things like that. But he hasn't conditioned him. So for sure.
Trying to work the kinks out in real time during the regular season against great teams is freaking tough.
For real, like that. We're doing great on defense for sure. One of these practices, I feel like the coach has to work on like freaking Brunson and Cat pick and roll, or looking on how to like even Vujic, even the guards and the Vujic know like Vujic will stand by the 3-point line. If a guard blows by, it's not a natural pass, but they'll literally just turn around and wait and pass Vujic the ball at the top of the 3-point line. Like we never do that with Cat. Like once Cat sets the screen and Jalen Brunson goes downhill, he's shooting it. He doesn't turn around and go, wait, Cat's still at the 3. And that's like the way the Celtics killed us with Porzingis for years was that particular thing, and we never do it.
What's infuriating is that Vucevic is already involved in those actions in his second game with the team. Cat's been here a season and a half. Tibbs couldn't solve it. Mike Brown can't solve it. To me, that's a personnel between those two guys. They gotta have a conversation, come to Jesus moment, and figure out how do we share the spotlight and make each other better, and also make each other better, not offensively, but defensively too. How can we close and be better communicators on what's happening, what we're guarding? So if we need the help, we call for it, know when to call for it. All those things got to be ironed out between them two as men, the same way that we just did on this podcast.
And it's funny because during this streak, I feel like we're advancing we're advancing defensively during the streak. There was one game though where I criticized Jalen Brunson not passing the Cat the ball enough, even though we won the game. But the Nuggets game, I said during the Nuggets game, I feel like we could have won that game easier, even though we won, if we used Cat more in the fourth quarter. Because the way they was guarding Brunson, Cat was often left open, but we just never got the ball to him. Like we're getting better defensively. I feel like that might be like the final thing for us. Use Cat better offensively. Yeah. Great game though. I know it doesn't sound like we won, but we won the game then.
Yes.
Yeah. We won the game. Don't get it twisted. We still happy we won the game. And we won what? 9 out of our last 10 games, or 11. I don't know. What is it? 11 out of our last 12 games. Something crazy hard.
9 out of our last 10, I think.
Yeah. So we're ecstatic. We were just nitpicking as fans, but at the same time, very happy where the team is. Very happy that we beat the Celtics, especially because I do feel like the Celtics had like a bone to pick with us because we beat them in the playoffs as well.
Definitely.
Right. And they actually played like that the game before. And so I'm glad we was able to return the flavor today, for sure. Especially the way Jaylen Brown was acting. Because Jaylen Brown was throwing little hissy fits one day because he didn't win Player of the Month or Player of the Week or something. And he was bitching out. So I'm glad that we actually got to beat him and shut him up for a game.
The wait is over.
Exactly. The wait is over, damn it.
That's very funny. Someone else here said that the defense on Brunson and Cat was overrated. I can't remember who that was. Was it Nityat? Paris? I can't find it. Anyways, the thing I was gonna say about that is, one, Cat's been very good defensively, and two, this game, let's use it as an example. My recall, I can't think back to 5 or 6 games ago, but tonight I thought Mike Brown did a good job of hiding Brunson on the weakest defender and really keeping him there too. Again, that's Alvarado and Hart saying, you know what, don't switch, I'll take this guy, and keeping Brunson out of the action so that other guys, not just Jaylen Brown, let Jaylen Brown cook Brunson, that's fine, but other guys don't get hot because they see barbecue chicken in front of them. So Brunson was mainly covering, started with Gonzalez and moved on to Ron Harper, at the second and third quarters, and closing it was at Sherwin, whatever that white guy with the tattoos is, who, again, another no-namer having a career high on us. It happens. But I thought Brunson overall was really good. it being hidden tonight. And then when he was asked to guard one-on-one, he showed some effort. You know, he at least guarded up, tried to hit a few charges that weren't called, but overall, I thought the effort was fine. If we did this level of effort from Cat and a little bit better of this from Brunson, we're a very, very hard team to beat, and we can keep getting better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like the fact that it's funny because here's the trouble with hunting somebody too. Sometimes if you're focused too much on hunting someone, you get out of rhythm. So it's because you're like, especially if we're fighting back, we're doing switches on the back end. And he's like, no, I want this switch on Brunson. Now you're not noticing that there's a help defender over here to pick you off. Now you're not. Now the other people aren't really ready to shoot really because the attention is just on trying to pick on this one person. So, if you overdo it, it could shoot you in the foot. And I feel like there's a big reason why they might have been out of rhythm today.
By the way, I wanted to bring this up because it's absolutely true. DJ Tiger Paul Carson going back and forth with Knicks fans on X. He's trashing out. I just checked. Yes, he is trashing out. He's calling fans dumb, calling them fat. He's going hard in the paint. Damn, bro, that's a bad look for. Isn't he the oldest player on the team?
Maybe.
It's not. I feel like it has to be him or Shamet. It has to be the oldest one. My bet would be Carson. He's just been in the lead forever. Yeah, he's he's arguing with everybody. Let's talk Knicks, Root Shiesty. Man, he's going off.
They tagged him or something? Is that what happened? Oh,
yeah, and he's going off on Jay from Florida.
Jay from Florida. Oh my god.
He just tweeted, get my D out your mouth respectfully. Yo. Oh man.
Holy cow. Hold on.
Wow. Why can't you show that dog on the court?
Imagine him with
a dog on Twitter and a cat on the court. That's not a good look, man.
Oh, the crazy part is, the crazy part is when he went out, Jay from Florida didn't even tag him. I thought he might have tagged Clarkson. Nah, Clarkson is just on Twitter searching.
Yep.
Oh. Wow.
One of my biggest L's, man. And you know what's funny is that I wanted him. I also admitting I agree with you when he showed me his numbers that he sucked on offense. It's just there's something about the charisma that I really liked. He has been such a negative.
Yeah, he's been bad, man.
There's an argument he was worse than Yabusele. Because I think he had his moments on both ends, right? He had moments where he hit the catch and shoot three. He had moments where he defended the rim vertically. Carson has had moments, but it's not because of him. It's just the shot finally fell. These stupid, low efficiency, high difficulty shots he took actually went in. But he's played this way all season, defensively and offensively.
I agree. I agree, honestly. Well, I don't agree that he was worse than Yabusele. I don't agree with that because I do feel like I do feel like he had moments on offense for sure. Like he saved us a couple of games. I'm not sure. Like he just got hot. He just got hot. But it's like we need this team needs defense more than our ISO score. Like we were cratering defensively. Like we were top three offense and cratering defensively. And so we needed to go somewhere else. And it's like when you have multiple guys off the bench who can't defend, it's even more glaring.
Yeah, we're not a team that runs a lot of plays. It's not like we're a team that runs a bunch of pin downs for Mikal Bridges to like, hey, take that mismatch and don't cook off of them. Decide whether you do the pull up three or the pull up mid range or attack the rim. This wheel offense, you have to do certain things very well. You got to cut, you got to relocate off ball. You have to set screens if you're a guard or a big. All those things are instrumental, right, for someone to get their shot within the offense. Yabu and Carson both need to put the ball on the floor and have a possession where they're on ball 4 or 5 seconds in order to be effective. This offense does not allow for that. Brunson's the only one who can and does do that. Everyone else, think about how everyone else scores. Deuce, OG, Bridges, it's their route, right? It's attacking that closeout, Bridges, 3 dribbles, fade away along the baseline. That's how they score. They're not on ball for 6 seconds. So that's like Leon, bro. You should have thought about that. You know, I know what he was trying to do, but it was a horrible fit on both.
Yeah. He was like, oh, we don't have a coach. We been scoring. We just go at the bench score. Not think about fit. Not think about any of that. That's really what happened.
Yep.
And it bit us in the ass. And the really big reasons why I didn't want him here because I was like, damn, I don't think he can survive playing next to Brunson. And we've never really used him next to Brunson except at the end of the game. We only done it we only used him next to Brunson like with bench minutes. And I feel like we never closed with him because it's too much of a liability defensively. It's crazy where it's like I prefer Kolek over Clarkson in the minutes hierarchy.
And if he's still in the corner and they give it to him, he's not going to take that corner three. He's going to put the ball on the floor and do some stupid shit and possibly turn the ball over or brick the shot. That's also something you got to think about as a coach too. Is he even the right complementary player for Brunson? If Brunson creates his gravity, now he's open. Are you going to take the shot that the defense is giving you, but it's high percentage? Or are you going to try to take something even lower percentage? And Carson would 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, he needs to be your team. He needs to be on a team with a bunch of defenders around him, like straight up. And it's and the reason I would go Kolek over Clarkson in general is because Clarkson, even though Clarkson has a propensity to be a better scorer, Kolek can shoot sometimes, but also he can always play make. I feel like crazy enough. It's crazy to say this, but I feel like Kolek is a better defender than Clarkson.
I think that's fair
today, which is, and on top of that, if he can't score, he can be effective by playmaking. With Clarkson, if he's not scoring, he's
there. Tim Doc, you've been cooking, but there's been enough time and tape on Carson on you can just watch and see how he doesn't fit within the offense and steam for that to where he can. It's kind of happened on Colett too. You figure out what he likes. What he likes is minimal and outside the flow of the offense to where it's easy to kind of pinpoint it and prepare for it instead of react for it, and it's easy to get him out of his game. So to me, it's like not only that, attack him relentlessly off pick and roll and ball screens, just get him in the action and obliterate him because he's going to go for the pump fake. He's going to give too much space on the shot. He's going to foul if he feels like he has to overcommit. He played himself off the floor. So even though he did help in the cup game, I think eventually these opposing coaches and teams are able to pinpoint how to take him out the game.
Yeah, I agree. He helped. He definitely helped us during the cup game, and he had some great games. But overall fit,
he's got to go.
Yeah, it's very touch and go, and he hasn't been going recently. But yeah, this is poor fit. I think a poor fit for this team. Maybe another team with more defenders around him where he can freelance more and have the other defenders to clean up his stuff. But here, no, I don't think it fits here.
Well, the best shot he took tonight was when he told this person stop eating powdered donuts and they deleted the tweet. So that was his. Yo. Oh donuts. Man.
Clarkson is a break glass emergency for playoffs. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it's emergency. He's not I'm giving you. It's nothing else is working. Let's see what happens. That's how I see it.
Kind of like Burt's.
Yeah. Whew. Yeah. Oh man, not him. Damn, Carson got time today. All right, he might flame us. We over here live streaming talking about. He might find us too. Find us too. I mean, listen, it is what it is, man. You haven't been playing well, but all your defenses has been bad. Oh man. Hi, yo. Anything else?
No, man. I think this is, as I said to start the show, usually when we've been arguing, we end up cooking. So I thought we did a great breakdown of a game, both the Detroit game and the Celtics game. Good analysis.
Facts. Next game is the Pacers, and then finishing it off with
Philly.
Woo! Shout out to my cousin Justin. Hold on. Shout out to my cousin Justin, man. Shout out to my cousin Justin, and shout out to my aunt and uncle who turned 70. I was with them at their party yesterday. My cousin Justin, he shout out to Justin. He found ways for us to sneak in to the Knicks locker room when I was in college. Yo, he's a ballsy dude. But he was trying to buy Philly tickets right behind the bench, and he was like, "Yo, Jay, look at the price. It's not that bad, right? So he might be going to the game. I don't know if you do. Shout me out and say FMB for me. All right, if you make it.
The KOT hat, man.
Facts.
He needs a KOT flat brim.
Facts. All right, yo. Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Ooze, bros.
Oh man, every day Donald Trump does something to outdo himself, bro. It's like
standard.
Bruh.
Absolutely embarrassing. I mean, I don't blame these Olympic athletes that are proud to represent their countrymen, but not proud to represent their government. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Again, saw all these bum-ass MAGA conservatives that haven't said a word about Epstein are now crying, bitching, and whining about the Olympic skier. I think that was like talking about how he has conflicted feelings about representing the United States in the Olympics. Wouldn't you too? Wouldn't you have reservations if you found your whole country was ran by P?
Yeah.
I would be conflicted.
Yeah.
Current administration that no one has mentioned more in those files than Donald Trump 30,000 times. Wouldn't you feel conflicted? I feel conflicted. I'm not even in the Olympics. I feel conflicted on a Kroger's. I feel conflicted didn't on my prescription at Walgreens. I feel conflicted. Hell yeah. Why wouldn't you? Because you have to be you have to have jingoism every single day, no matter how the country's tearing the fabric of it apart. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Keep being
people just want blind patriotism no matter what happens.
Stupid.
And that's like the most un-American thing to do is to have blind patriotism, right?
Facts. 100%.
Well, you know what's American? Fighting for your rights and changing them. Shout out to the civil rights movement. All right. That's American as hell. Be freedom of speech, to be able to speak up against people who are being tyrannical or being unfair. That is American. So blind patriotism is not American to me. That is just being complacent and letting overtake it. And for people complaining about that, if people didn't push back on the government, you wouldn't have Social Security, you wouldn't have free school lunches, you wouldn't have a lot of the benefits that you enjoy right now wouldn't be here if people didn't challenge the government.
Unemployment, disability, Medicaid, Medicare, 100%, bro.
So you have to challenge the government. Yeah, well, that's if we can't challenge the government, that makes you a dictatorship, which is what this country is kind of trying to head to. Hopefully, stay away from that. But yeah. All right, yo, I'm good though. I'm good. That's the show. Thank you guys for watching. Lee, let them know they can find you, sir.
Enjoy Bad Bunny. Check out my article. I've been sharing the shit out of that one. Bad Bunny for Bleacher Report. 10 things to know before today's musical halftime performance. He's not for everybody, but I like that he's just going to piss off every horrible person I know in my life, which is like enough for me to sit in my house and laugh to myself about. Black History Month, my band that you should check out, one of the pioneers of punk music, Bad Brains from our capital, Washington, D.C. One of the best heavy bands and corporate speed metal, alternative metal, a little bit of funk, a little bit of R&B. Also had the opportunity to interview them at South by Southwest in 2011 and then again in 2015 when they came to Dallas. And I smoked out, got high with them. Great bunch of dudes. And also one of the greatest American bands of all time, Bad Brains. Most Def sampled them for the Iden's I song off of what's album was that? I think the second one that he came out with. Anyways, incredible band. Check them out. Bad Brains, BADBRAINS.
All right. Cool. All right. Let's see. Shoot, I didn't even come prepared today. I have to do this off the cuff. All right. Black history fact for today. I want to talk about the Moors, man. I want to talk about the Moors, yo. The Moors are like it's not even American. This is not like an American blood. This is like people from Africa who set up systems and taught Europeans and how to do things like grow agriculture. They actually like figured out how to grow, I think, cotton and other agriculture back in the day. They also were advanced when it came to to medicine. They're also the concept of universities came from the Moors, and they were also feared people, and were more technologically advanced. They also were more technologically advanced in agriculture. This is all way back in the day, and they're actually feared. And a lot of things that we're using today, kind of started from the brilliance of the Moors back in the day. So shout out to the Moors. This is kind of off the cuff, but that's my Black history fact today.
Yeah, great choice. Also, not only did they influence lots of Spanish culture during their conquering, they also inspired William Shakespeare's Othello, which is about a Moorish military commander. So if you like Shakespeare, like I do, in theater, there's even the more influence there as well.
Absolutely. Knicks Nation says, Jay, people don't understand the deep history of what you're saying. Listen. At least if they're curious, they can look up even more. If I'm more prepared, I could get deeper into it, but I'm kind of just going off of memory right now. But they started a lot of medical advances, a lot of agricultural advances. They've hit a plethora of areas, and we're advancing a plethora of areas where European nations actually learned a lot from them. So especially Spain. I believe it was Spain. Thank you, Lee. Go ahead, Lee. Sorry.
No problem. My last point, Nick Yat says, many people are in the files thousands of times. All aren't guilty. They think they're going to a regular party. This was such an absurd take. I had to address it. So when I hear conservatives hear that, say Bill Gates was in the Epstein files, immediately thought is he's guilty, right? He's doing stuff with kids. He's doing all kinds of disturbing things on the island. No one questions, oh, maybe he was just going to a regular party. Everyone immediately thinks Bill Clinton or Bill Gates, the people who, on their bias, are already evil, are doing evil things. Well, Bill Gates is only mentioned 55 times in all of the Epstein files that have been released. Let's say someone else, Bill Clinton, 1,000 times in the Epstein files. Do you know who leads the race in most instances mentioned in the Epstein files? Is our current president, Donald Trump, at a whopping 38,000. So out of those 38,000 mentions, you tell me, Nityak, or anyone else, Robert Paris, Bum-ass, whoever it is, you tell me how many times they were going to a regular party just to have a drink and how many times they were doing some of the most decadent, devilish, satanic things they possibly could. You decide.
Yeah, and you know what, too, Lay, is like, there are going to be people mentioning there who were just there and thought it was an innocent party. Like, that's going to happen. But, like, here's the thing with Donald Trump in particular. Outside of the Epstein files, and I keep saying this, there was evidence outside of Epstein files, which makes me more believe that this is true. If you just search YouTube right now, today, it's still up. It's not redacted. Today, you search Donald Trump and Howard Stern. Donald Trump is bragging about how he got to see naked teenage girls in their dressing room. He's bragging about it openly. That's not in the document. That's from his mouth. So whenever I mention that to people, they conveniently ignore that. Just like they can conveniently ignore every other red flag that Donald Trump has given us for decades, whether it be, oh, he's not racist, but he just kicks out black people from his apartments all the time, and that's not racist at all. Oh, that's interesting. That's your point of view. Oh, he's not a sex offender, but he just likes look like young girls naked when they're 14 years old.
And has been sued dozens and dozens of times.
Yeah, it's like,
oddly enough, never countersued for libel or slander for any of those, because if he did, they would actually have to bring forth the evidence in court. So of course he doesn't countersue.
Yeah, you're just certain things that are kind of obvious when you turn off your bias by like at least 10%.
Ooh, that's hard. You're asking for a lot, Jay Ellis. For a lot.
Yeah, it's like very, very selective outrage. It's kind of interesting. I guess what? Guess what I'm not going to hear, Lee, a counterpoint from what I just said. Because whenever I mention that, I never get a reply.
It's so funny, right? They were like, what about her emails? For 7 years, we heard Hillary Clinton and her emails. But now these emails come out. They're not talking about child P. They're just trying to go to a party and have a fun time. Epstein, man, he was a great cocktail maker. He knew how to make a great rum and coke, mixed drinks, excellent martini. That's what it was all about. But Hillary's emails, those are the real emails. Epstein emails, those are the fake ones.
Say what you want about Obama. They had a field day of outrage because he had a tan suit on. I heard about the tan suit for like months. He's disrespecting the office. He has a tan suit on. It's like, when this stuff happens,
yep.
Yeah, I don't.
Add one final thing. You're absolutely right, JL. It's because, I'm not a fan of Obama. I think he's actually a horrible president. I think he's a war criminal. However, who's not in the Epstein files? Barack Obama.
Obama.
Who is? Both Bushes. Both Bushes in there. So is Trump. So is Clinton. But Joe Biden and Barack Obama, both horrible presidents, but not in the Epstein files.
Yeah. And for me, look, I voted for Obama. I don't regret it. I really don't. If you're pissed about his policies offshore, I can't blame you. Like if there's any real criticism of Obama, it's his policies overseas.
Facts.
As far as what he did with how he ran America, I felt like he's definitely ran it better than Trump has. But as far as overseas,
yeah, I agree with that too.
Like, yeah, job growth. It was soft ass restrictions on like the police, but he at least tried to put a damn restriction on there at all with the body cams. But it's like, I don't know, man. Trump is running shit into the ground, all levels. Taxes is up. Tariffs are taxes, by the way.
There's literally no positive thing you can say about Donald Trump right now. Not a single thing. There's not a single thing you can point to and say, well, at least this, because he's even deporting at smaller, less numbers than Obama and Biden. So what could a conservative person possibly say that he's doing well? And when he does deport, it involves the assault and people being arrested without due process or warrants that are American citizens. Like, bro, what can you possibly defend right now? You just sound like a complete asshole defending him. And if you are so defending him, you are a complete asshole.
Yeah, I heard a stat that said out of everybody who's been detained, 5% of those people detained are violent criminals. 5%. Whatever. All right. What is. Great win. Yeah. We did it. All right. That's the show. Thank you guys for watching. For people who still here for that portion. Hey man, shout out to you guys. All right. All right, yo, that's the show. Thank you guys for watching. Let them know you can find you, sir.
Bring the smoke. Robert Paris unblocked me and let's engage at @Leescobedo, LEESCOBEDO. Yeah,
most successful shows, League Politics and RLS, of course, is a MSN show. Well, I kind of do what I want here, so that's kind of like I think that's the beauty of starting your own shit. Is you make your own rules.
It's hard to do. It's easy to be a keyboard warrior like his bum ass.
Yeah,
exactly. It's harder. Make your own podcast, Robert Paris. Let's see who would. I think the same people that would interact with your tweets, which is 0, would watch your podcast.
Yeah, and it's like when you make your own rules, you can be your most authentic self. And who rocks with you, who doesn't. So you can be like, y'all rock with your sport takes. That's cool. Y'all like the political segment. I don't like the political segment. That's cool too. But it's funny because Robert Parrish, you yourself are an immigrant, so you have a different perspective. I'm not an immigrant. I was born here. My ancestors fought to have the freedoms that I have right now, and one of the freedoms we fought for is freedom of speech.
Facts.
And that's the biggest blind spot you have being in this country. You don't know what it is to fight for freedom and have it watch it being taken away from you slowly. So you just think this is cool. You just let it happen. You be happy to be in America. Part of being America was fighting for what I have right now. If we didn't fight, I wouldn't be being on a show. I'd be enslaved right now. But, so let it go. Stop talking. Stop fighting. Fuck out of here. I will never stop. That's the show. Thank you guys for watching. And as always,
shout out the Worldwide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
it's a mess out here in these streets. That's the show. We out of here. Peace.
York, New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
NYC.